Ouija boards. Are they the devil's plaything? Or can they be pretty fucking beneficial? Find out why I think they can be pretty cool, when I think you should stay away from them, a little bit of the history behind them, and my personal experiences with these crazy things. So join me as we dive on in. In America's 19th century, spiritualism was sweeping the nation. Spiritualism is the belief that the dead are able to communicate with the living and have been around for years in Europe. The actual practice, not the dead people. The Fox sisters emerged in the 1840s and claimed to receive messages from the dead through knocks and tapping on the walls in response to their questions. They would recreate these sessions in parlors all over New York. The news of the sisters and their channeling and other spiritualists almost normalized the practice, as many people believed it to be okay and to be a practicing Christian. Throughout the second half of the 19th century, the average American would take part in spiritualist activities such as seances, automatic writing, or even having table turning parties where participants would place their hands on a small table and watch it move and shake without their doing. The Ouija itself was created and named in Baltimore, Maryland in 1890. But the use of talking boards was so common by 1886 that the phenomenon was taking over spiritualist camps in Ohio. This is when an employee of Elijah Bond, William Fuld, F-U-L-D, took over the talking board production. In 1901, Fuld started the production under the name Ouija, or Ouija, however you say it. So, when are Ouija boards a bad idea? Most people have heard of the horror stories with Ouija board possession, and all of a sudden it's a portal to hell and all these demons or the dead is coming through. And even the demon Zozo has made popular. Even Zozo has made popular Ouija boards and the whole like demon possession behind it all. The reason why I think that Ouija boards can be bad and shouldn't be messed with is because just like any other divination tool, when you're trying to tap into the unconscious, a lot of what you're going to attract is what you are, right? And so unfortunately, like a lot of people are lower vibration without them even realizing it. And it's not to say that lower vibration is bad or negative or like, you know, they should fucking be locked away. It's nothing about that. It's just that a lot of us carry around unprocessed trauma and carry around a lot of emotional baggage without us realizing that we are. And so these emotions actually put us at a lower frequency or a lower vibration where the highest vibration is love. The highest frequency is love. And so, you know, the more lower vibration stuff you're holding on to, that's where your vibration is going to sit. So with a lot of people sitting at that lower vibration, they hop on a Ouija board and now they're going to attract things that are lower vibration themselves or like to feed off of lower vibration energy. That's where some of the problems come in, right? Then on top of that, most people don't cleanse themselves or set like spiritual boundaries or do even kind of like a prayer where negative, lower vibration things are not allowed to interact. And only those things that are high vibrations, such as I only ask for my spirit guides, my angels, and like my higher self to come through. Or any high vibration beings, because you never know, maybe ET is out there and wants to talk to me. So I set that boundary that nothing that is not for my highest good will come through, right? And I do also little tests while I'm first starting. If something comes through, you know, I ask it some questions, and if I'm just not feeling it, I'll go ahead and go to goodbye and tell that thing that it needs to leave. So another danger is when little kids use it, because little kids are like lighthouses in the spirit realm, okay? They're just like completely open, and so they attract so many different things to come through. Like, an example is, if you ever watched that movie Poltergeist, perfect example. She was like a little lighthouse, the little girl, Caroline. I think it was in the second Poltergeist, the 80s ones, were really highlighted, like, she kept being a doorway for the dead to come through. So that's another problem, because a lot of kids also do not set those boundaries of anything that's negative can't come through. So they can open up portals. Another thing is, we as humans have this already set belief. I don't know why I'm yelling. Already set belief that Ouija boards are bad. That if you mess with a Ouija board, you're going to be possessed forever. Like, that it is just inherently bad. And so it's a deep belief that we have, that even if we don't believe in anything, don't believe in God, don't believe in Christianity, don't believe in, Islam, whatever, like, there's still kind of that deep-seated subconscious belief because you've heard it your whole life. So going into something like this, you're gonna that belief is gonna come true. So that's where I think that it could be bad. If you're not spiritually prepared for it, if you're going through emotional times, if you're, have mental health issues, if you're not emotionally in a stable place, if you're not actively working on yourself and understand spiritual principles, I believe stay the fuck away from them. There was an interesting clip that I saw, Bashar. For anybody that doesn't know who Bashar is, it is an entity that is channeled. I don't know the name of the guy that actually channels it. I'll probably put it right there. But it's cool because there was a Halloween episode and somebody asked, are Ouija boards bad? And his response, or its response, was really awesome, and especially it's how I feel. If you come into it with a negative belief, negative things will happen. But if you use it as a neutral source, or even a source to connect to positive things, then it will be so. So I would like to play that clip real quick for you.
Let me put it this way. You have certain symbols on your planet that have certain collective definitions attached to them, so to speak. So it's not in general dangerous, but the idea of the way most people in your society think of the Ouija board actually allows them to expand the idea into a more negative vibration, because that's what you bring to it going in for the most part.
So the next question is, can Ouija boards ever be helpful? In my experience so far, yes. Yay! Now, when I was younger and didn't really know what I was doing, I did have a lot of negative experiences with Ouija boards. Some stuff that I wish, it scared the shit out of me. But once I stopped having a negative connotation with it, it has been really cool and really interesting to see that it's another form of connecting to spirit for me. I use tarot cards, I use rods, I use pendulums. Haven't started runes, but that's something that I'm interested in. I actually saw a psychic medium use a Ouija board, and in her video she was talking about, you have to take that negative belief system that it's inherently bad, because it literally is just paper and plastic. So I started using it. I've only done it 3 times where I've used it only solely to connect to my spirit guides, to, those spirits on the other side that are trying to help me out, my angels, and my higher self. And it was insane, honestly. I got information that my brain would have never went there, things that it brought up that I would have. It just made me realize okay, yeah, your imagination can be fun and it can do things, but it showed me, I was that was not anywhere in my mind. So there's something to this. So, and it gave me information that I hadn't even thought of. So it was interesting, and it really helped me out, and it really showed me that I can have another avenue to talk to my spirit guides. But again, I do very specific things when I use the Ouija board. I went over a little bit in the previous section, but I won't go too far into it. But I make sure that I take precautions. and that I respect it too. And I thank my guides, you know, when I'm done, just like after I do tarot or after doing pendulum, I always thank, you know, whatever came through. And I always cleanse and sage or use Florida water or, you know, take a shower, do white light visualization, whatever. So I think, yes, Ouija boards can be helpful. It just depends how you use them and how do you believe about them, how do you think about them, and what precautions are you taking. So, for some of my crazy personal experiences I've had, the first one I can think of is, how long ago was this? This was a while. I was probably like 23, 24, like 10, 12, 13 years ago. I used to like ghost hunt a lot. I was so interested in that kind of stuff. And so me and some of my friends, we went out to this church in South Carolina. I don't even know if it was known for being haunted or whatever, but for some reason that's where we chose, and had a graveyard next to the church. So we bring the Ouija board, and it was me and two of my friends. And so it starts going. It says that it's a little girl, that she like died in like the late 1800s or something like that she was like only 8 years old, and it gave us all this information. And I asked it thinking I was being funny, "Oh, do you want me to draw you when I get home?" And it said yes. So we're wrapping it up. We're going, you know, home. As I stand up, because we were doing it on the ground, as I stand up, I had my purse right here, and I physically felt a force go into my purse, and my keys actually jingled. And so I immediately looked at my friend. I was like, "What are you doing?" And then as I looked at her, I realized she was too far away for her hand to even reach inside my purse. And I think her hands were in her hoodie too. And she was like, "I didn't do anything." I was like,
"You can get the fuck out of here."
So it didn't end there. So me being a smartass, I go home and I draw her and I give like her a little name. I'm like, "Ah, there you are." So I go to sleep. So the next day I wake up. Well, I get woken up. It's like 8 or 9 in the morning, and I wake up and I hear like this little girl's voice say something like TV or something like that. I don't know. That's what it sounded like. Then I feel the pressure of somebody getting in my bed next to me, and I feel the actual like springs, the coils, like somebody sitting on there. And then I go into sleep paralysis. I can't move, I can't say anything, I can't do anything. And I'm just like freaking out. I'm like, this sucks, this sucks, it sucks. And finally it goes away, and I was just like, alright, whatever you are, you gotta go. That was fucking dumb of you to do. So that was like the craziest experience I had. I had another experience where me and a lot of our friends, we went to downtown in our city here, and we went to like a local jailhouse that was supposedly haunted. And so we were doing Ouija board, and one of our friends, we didn't know, like his cousin just passed away maybe like a couple of weeks before this, and it was like me and my other friends were doing it, and then it specifically asked for him. And so then when it got on the board, it said their name, and like the dude started almost crying because he was like, "This is nuts. I didn't talk about this, da 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 da." So we finished out, and I remember like us dropping him off, and apparently he called my boyfriend that was with me, that we did all this together. And he was saying that like when he went home, he started hearing voices and stuff to the point where like he had to go. He went and stayed the night at a friend's house. And then my boyfriend that night, while he was sleeping, he woke me up in the middle of the night because he decided he was going to talk in his sleep. But I swear to God, it was not English. I don't know. It sounded nuts to the point I shoved him awake. I was like, "Dude, you're talking in your sleep and it sounds nuts." And he didn't remember that he was talking in his sleep. And I think it only happened that night, but that was enough. Then like maybe the most non-crazy story of Ouija board. So I was like in high school. It was like 2004, I think, because it was like the elections with George Bush Jr. And I think he was running against John Kerry. Might have been John Kerry. Anyways, so it was me and my two friends, and we were all like very against George Bush. So we were like, we were playing around, we were talking to it, and then we decided, to ask, you know, who's going to win the elections between the two. And when it started spelling out George Bush, we were all like,
Oh my God, bro.
hell
man.
no, 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 no. There must be some Republican ghost in here that's doing that. But as history would have it, George Bush did win, and it was kind of fucking weird. So that is the video. Those are my stories. If you want to hear anything else about Ouija board experiences or how to use one, how I feel properly, leave me a comment below. But stay safe out there and keep being spooky.